Hey, let me explain something to you. Judge people by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. Boy, oh boy, is that having a little bit of a twist as we move through the NFL Super Wildcard Weekend. And I got to tell you, it was Super Wildcard Weekend. It just was. I got to get into teams that quit, teams that came on, players getting a second chance, coaches getting a second chance, smart coaches, bad coaches, things I'd never thought I would say when the Eagles are 10-1. But first, ladies and gentlemen, let's go to the content of their character. We heard so many glowing tributes to Dr. Martin Luther King. Oh, he fought, he did this, he did that. The number one thing Dr. Martin Luther King said, if you really have paid attention, is he has a dream where folks are judged by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. And all of these wonderful African-American media people, I mean, all these horrific African-American media people just can't stand it. They can't live that when it comes to NFL football players. Jemele Hill, she says no to Dan Campbell. She says no to Dan Campbell. You're telling me, Jemele Hill is telling me, this is totally judging somebody by the color of their skin and their look. When Jemele Hill says this is who black coaches are losing jobs to. This is who. This is who. Black coaches are losing opportunities to. Well, I'm going to tell you something. You know that I give you NFL insight like really no other, because I talk to actual working NFL people that know I would never rat them out, that trust me. And I thought the same thing about Dan Campbell. I'm like, who's this meathead? Oh, no, because Dan Campbell, before they hired Frank Reich, interviewed for the job here in Indianapolis. And I thought, oh man, meathead dude. But what do we do here? You know what we do here? We judge by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. So when he went and got the Detroit Lions job after the Colts, in another foolish Chris Ballard move, decided to take Frank Reich, Dan Campbell getting another job made me go to the beard. And when I go to the beard, there's some serious thinking. Like, I'm at the beard and my head is sweating. You can see it. Well, because there's thinking. The flames inside have turned on. It's like when you flip that switch with the lighter. Whew. Well, now I do this. Well, guess what? It made me think like this guy must be a football guy. So I called two guys that I respect in NFL front offices. I said, what's up with this guy, Dan Campbell? Unbelievable guy. Yeah, what does that mean? Unbelievable guy. Like one of those smarter than you think because of how he looks guys. One of those prepared guys. You think that he's a muscle, I'm going to bite your kneecap kind of guy. No. Like, you don't have to look like Mike McDaniel to be seen as a nerdy football deep in the woods guy. McDaniel has to be that guy. This guy, Dan Campbell, has to be the anti what Dan Campbell looks like guy. Follow me here for a second. Dan Campbell looks like your high school line coach if he would shave his head and get a flat top. You know, down at Ed's barber shop, they would give you a flat top, and, you know, Mike Arena's barber shop was where the good folks went in Northwest Indiana, about 48th and Broadway in Gary. But the fact of the matter is, Dan Campbell looks like that, but isn't that. He's analytical. He's fearless, totally, completely fearless. He understands a player's mentality, and he does the work in every area. And next thing you know, by having all of this and putting toughness at the forefront, guess what? Lions are doing things they haven't done since the 60s. 60s a long-ass time ago. No, it's a long time ago. And what makes it even better is you have an appreciative fan base. So, Jemele Hill says this is the man that black coaches are losing opportunities to. The answer is yeah. So, of course, our Bobby Barack and others reached out to Jemele Hill, and, of course, Jemele Hill gave them nothing. Squadoosh, zip, zilch, nothing. Now, that's smart, because what's she going to say? Well, you know, guys, you know I'm a flaming racist. You know that the only way I have relevance, if I do have relevance, is because, well, you know, I got to fan the flames of racism. Well, she tried. And then people give her the opportunity. See, if you were a white dude and you said that about Dan Campbell, and Dan Campbell was black, these are the kind of goofs that white coaches are losing out opportunities to. The world would implode. Whitey would get with his LGBTQ friend. They would be drafting a letter. He would get with their African-American buddy at the bar. What do? It would be chaos. But no, this thing here, she just goes about her life. Because let me explain this to you. She don't have to apologize. She don't have to answer. Throw it out there, become Al Sharpton, become somebody that doesn't pay your taxes, become a complete fraud, but the money rolls in because Whitey's scared to death. This Whitey ain't scared to death. It's a BS comment by a BS person who has no value in sport other than to check a box on an application. Now, I'll give her that. Black, female, I guess she's married. If she'd thrown a lesbian in there, at least assaulted, she'd have been unbelievable. But the fact of the matter is that's the only thing she has in sports is to check boxes. That's it. Period. Hey, who'd you hire? Well, we hired this African-American woman. Oh, perfect. I mean, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. I have an agent. I go, hey, Maury. Yeah, my agent's actually named Maury. He's a New Yorker. He's a great dude. Like, hey, Maury, who do you get the most calls for? Hey, he goes, Dan, if you have a niece-nephew, mostly a niece, that's a lesbian, Asian, or black woman, I'll get her hired tomorrow. This is a fact. This is what the world is. So we understand it, but we're not allowed to say it, but I ain't afraid to say it. That's the only thing Jemele Hill, only thing she does. Let's say she gets hired by OutKick tomorrow. She checks a box. African-American woman, boom. Now, can we make her a lesbian too? I mean, does she ever want to be a transgender? I mean, if we could do that, because she holds no value in sports. None, zip, zero. And you know she's gutless. Look, if you can't make a stupid comment like that, see what has happened in Detroit, where she and most of the others are trying to be down from now, yo. If you can't make that, see what you did and say, look, I screwed that up, I apologize. But see, here is where people like Jemele Hill are smarter than you and me. They know you never apologize. Ever. Never, ever, 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 ever. No. Why? Because it's weakness. It's not you being a good dude. There's no being a good dude when you apologize. It's weakness. It opens a crevasse for people to jump in. Don't apologize. Hell no. 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 You know who's not apologizing anymore? The Michigan AD. See, you ever want to know where winning cures everything? Look at the Michigan case. What was it, about 2 months ago, Ward Manuel, who's the athletic director at Michigan, who I like, he told a lady, one of the vice presidents of Health and Human, to stick it when she tried to bitch about something I said on the air. He's like, yeah, you're an idiot. You don't even know that his son played at Michigan. He understands these things. Go away. So I always like Ward Manuel for having some stones. But Ward Manuel, the president, et al., walked and got ambushed at a meeting at the Big Ten offices and walked out of there with their tail between their legs when they thought they were going to walk out of there kicking the Big Ten's ass, alleviating the second suspension of Jim Harbaugh. They thought they were going to walk in there, show this new evidence, and boom, Harbaugh was not going to be suspended. This thing was going to be over, and away we go. 20 minutes later, they walked out, they got new evidence, and everybody got quiet. Manuel, the president, pissed off. I mean, I heard from numerous people, I'm talking about P-I-S-T-D-T-T-T off. Pissed off. Okay, now, fast forward. The one thing was you got to win a natty. Guess who just won a natty? Michigan. So here's Ward Manuel at an event yesterday. They had a parade. They were playing Ohio State in basketball. It was kind of a cool deal. During an event at the Chrysler Center, which followed a parade for the Wolverines' first national championship, I don't know why I throw words in there, Manuel told those in attendance, which including Harbaugh near him on the stage, that I'm working on getting this man a new contract. I can promise you that. Look, if you ever question, even a little bit, even a skosh, give me an example, Dan, of how winning cures all in sports. That's it. That's it right there. And they won at a level that, let's be honest, Bo Schembechler never won a national championship. They had not won a national championship since 1989. Now, in my world, that's a long time. That's in basketball, excuse me. I don't know, it was 90-something, I guess, with Lloyd Carr. Basketball, they won national championship in 1989. And no, that wasn't with the Fab Five, who was at the game last night. Fab Five never won jack, although I give them credit. I give them great credit for getting to the Final Four 2 years in a row. That's pretty good. I mean, whether you like him or not, I don't care, but that's pretty good. But anyway, so he is working on a contract to get Harbaugh or to make Harbaugh stay. Now, it just came out earlier today that one of the things that Harbaugh wants in his new deal is he wants immunity. What does that mean? Well, what it means is no matter what happens with the NCAA, you're going to hire, you're going to keep. That simple. You hire me, I sign this deal, you're going to keep me. And if I'm Harbaugh, it's a pretty good move. If I'm Harbaugh, it's a damn good move. If I'm Harbaugh, that's a move I want. Everybody wants that. If you hire me and I do something that pisses you off, I keep the job. That's called leverage. And Harbaugh's got leverage right now. And we'll see. Now, yesterday he interviewed with the Chargers. Our friend Sean Merriman said, please tell me that Harbaugh interviewed via Zoom, because if he interviewed in the building, I would have come over and locked the doors and not let him leave until he signed a deal to coach the Chargers. Hey, I don't know where he's going to end up, but I do know this. Harbaugh's about my age. I think he's a year younger, so he's probably 60. I think he just had a 60th birthday. With all due respect, Chicago's a wonderful, wonderful town, but they didn't fire their coach. Let's get rid of them. You know, it was rumored way back in the day that Harbaugh, oh man, you know what? He loved Michigan. His bailout would always be where? Guess what? Detroit Lions. That ain't happening. Of course that ain't happening. Let me ask you this, and I know our friend Aaron Spielberg loves the Redskins. If you were Jim Harbaugh and you understand the value of a quarterback, are you going to the Redskins? I mean, is that where you're putting basically your entire NFL existence, I guess? I mean, I know he was successful early, but are you going to put that on Sam Howell and what they've got going there with a new ownership group? I mean, do you think that's the right move? How about Atlanta? You think Desmond Ritter's your guy? Other than Desmond Ritter, what do you got? Heineke? I don't know. I'm just saying that if I'm Harbaugh and I got two options, basically the NFL and sign a massive deal at Michigan, because Michigan's going to put that deal and hold on to that deal like grim death out there. They're not going anywhere with that deal, period. If I'm going to the NFL, I'm going somewhere where there's a quarterback, and that quarterback is Justin Herbert. And that quality of life is pretty good where he's going to be. Now, even Aaron Spielberg, executive producer extraordinaire, king of the castle, mother of dragons. You know what he said about going to Washington? Oh, hell no. Hell no. So I'm saying to you, if I'm going to the NFL, who's the best quarterback? Who do I want to work with in the front office? And let's ride. That simple. Because you ain't winning without a quarterback. The pretenders all got their asses kicked. The pretenders are out the door. And I'm out the door. Let me give you a pretender. It's not his fault. He did a great job. But eventually, Joe Flacco. Let me give you not a pretender, a contender after watching last night. Baker Mayfield. Quarterback play matters. Let me give you another one. All you got to do is go to Twitter. In fact, I put it on my Twitter this morning. We can't show it on here because it's NFL in-game film. Dallas Goedert, I believe the word was biatch without the atch. More of an itch. You know what I'm saying? Directed at Jalen Hurts. So here we are, fast forward from about 2 months ago when they were 10-1, and you got a quarterback problem in Philadelphia, which is amazing to me. I would argue, hey, look, they got to a Super Bowl. That's damn good right now in Philadelphia. Pretender. What is Justin Herbert? In my world, pretender. Now, word on the street, and this is me, old head. See this? That's an old head. I got an old head right here. See this old head? I used to tell players, look, and I know it's different right now because I know hairstyles have gotten whacked out and, okay, fine, I don't really care. I wouldn't do this anymore. But I used to say, cut your hair and get serious about your job. Then you say, wipe your ass and get serious about your job. Let's get serious about this. I think Herbert cut his hair. I'm just saying. So if I'm going somewhere and I'm Harbaugh, I am running straight to L.A. Chargers. Period. That's me. All right, the greatest rivalry in sports. College sports. Tonight, I always get confused, over my shoulder here, Indiana at home against the Boilermakers, number 2 ranked. See, I wanted Purdue to be number 1 ranked. I wanted Purdue to come in here, Assembly Hall, Simon Scott Assembly Hall. I wanted Purdue to come in as the numero uno team in the country. I did. I'm like, hey, come on in number 1. The hell? That didn't happen. Yeah, they lost 2 games so far. They got beat bad by Nebraska. And they got beat in it was a tough game. I mean, I'm going to, at Northwestern. But here's the problem you have for Purdue. You ready? Purdue's good. Now, all the little guys, Purdue's better than they've ever been. This is the best Purdue group. Okay. It always is. Well, last year they couldn't do this. This year they can do this. It was like at Purdue, last year's team couldn't even dunk the ball. That's how unathletic and slow they are. This year, Purdue is like Phi Slamma Jamma back in the 80s. It's like Dr. J. It's like Michael Jordan splitting the D. It's like, wow. Purdue's athletic ability hadn't won them nothing. What wins for Purdue? Tough guards. What wins for Purdue? Man masquerading as a mountain, or mountain masquerading as a man. I said that backwards. Zach Edey, are you kidding me? That's what wins for Purdue. But all I'm reading about is all these athletes. Purdue's got these athletes. Well, here's something for you Indiana fans. It's a great matchup for Indiana. Was last year, is this year. Now, there's a kid on Indiana named Ware. There's a kid on Indiana named Rabot or Rabu or whatever the hell his name is. Kind of looks like a chick. He's got his little hair thing going. You know what I'm saying. That's all right. I don't care what you look like. Go play. Because we judge people by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. All right. So Indiana's got big guys. Indiana's got a big kid named Peyton Sparks who went to Ball State. Foolishly thought maybe he bought into it. Maybe, I don't know if anybody lied to anybody. I don't care. But he foolishly thought that the grass was going to be greener. He was going to play, show himself to the NBA, and played a whole lot, but he's a big, strong kid. Indiana can throw some bodies at you. Indiana has to throw bodies because, well, Zach Edey is the preeminent body. So you're sitting to me and you're going, hey, Dan, I think you're nuts. I don't think Indiana has a chance. Here's why they do. First off, they do have bodies. They got bodies they can throw at Edey. Second off, they're very athletic on the wing. And they're athletic enough at guard. Now, the guards have not been great. The guards have been just okay. And this is where I'll give you guys that somehow, some way love Robert Johnson III or whatever the hell. Okay, I'll give you him. This is where he needs to play. He's a 6-year senior. I mean, go back 6 years. Gabe Cupps, who is starting ahead of him as a freshman, you go back 6 years, Gabe Cupps in like 7th, 8th grade. I mean, you should be able to play in that game if you're Xavier Johnson. In fact, you should be the difference maker in that game. Look, I think Indiana wins. I think Indiana wins by 4-6. I'm going to take the money line on this one, and I'm going to take 10 points. Now, here's how Purdue wins. Purdue wins, and this is something that it's just one of the reasons Purdue is successful on the road is because they don't fall into the trap late of trying to score 4 points in a possession. I was texting my son the other day. You know what? Down 4 minutes to go, a lot of time. Don't need jacked up threes. You jack up a 3, next thing you know it's 6, next thing you know it's 8, and you got a problem, and everybody's looking at each other. Purdue don't do that. They don't do that on the road. They do not do that. You know what they do? They settle in, they throw it to Edey, and they go get buckets. Edey, first time in his little regime here, he went for 10, and he went for 15. 15 at Nebraska, 10 against Illinois. Nebraska, they got pounded. All was right with the world. They came back and belly whomped Penn State with 30, and they got to get Edey with 30. But, quite frankly, dude, who's the X factor? Because everybody needs an X factor. Now, none of these idiots know what an X factor is, but you know what? Who's the X factor? I tell you what the X factor is. The X factor is the dude that got arrested in the Taco Bell. Yeah, he is. He's the X factor. He is. What's his name? Mackenzie Mabanko? Something like that. Hey, look, I'm not broadcasting the game. If I was, I'd know his name. But here's the deal. The dude's been on fire lately. The dude has been knocking in shots. The dude is about 6'6", perfect body. He can get on the wing and defend. And here's what also I like about the kid. The kid, when asked about him playing defense, said, asked about his improvement, said, well, frankly, my defense been a lot better. I'm like, oh, really? Okay. That's a pretty good answer. Like, no, that's a really good answer. That's like one of those answers where you're like, huh, you might actually be an adult. So the kid's gone for 13 and 19 in his last 2. He's good enough. He's crazy enough. He don't care enough. He's got a 5-star label on him for a reason, and if you're going to have a 5-star label, frankly, it's not fair. It didn't used to be this way, but it is now. As a freshman, you got to go out and play, and you got to go out and play well in this game. But I am not going to be surprised if Indiana wins, and make sure you understand the key is Mackenzie Bacco. It is. That dude makes shots, everybody makes shots. And if he ain't the guy making shots, then it needs to be Trey Galloway. Trey Galloway's going to play fine. It looks like he's got the yips a little bit. People at Indiana are concerned about his free throw, that kind of thing. But Trey Galloway, to me, has to have one of those 20-point nights. There's no excuse, frankly. Indiana's an older team. Indiana's a bigger, stronger team other than Edey. Indiana is every bit as athletic. There's no excuse for Indiana losing this game. There's not. And I don't think they will. I don't. Now, I can give you a bunch of stuff about offensive sets, but here's the bottom line. When things go south, the ball's going to Edey. When things go south, this is what kills Indiana. The ball can't be dribbled by Xavier Johnson Jr. into bad stuff, where everybody stands around and looks at a bad player. It's okay to stand around and watch Edey go to work. He's the best player in the country. It ain't okay to stand around and watch Xavier Johnson go to work. He's a 6-year point guard who next year, I don't know what he's going to be doing, but it ain't going to be playing in the NBA. I mean, it's just the way it is. So do yourself a favor, Indiana. Don't stand around watching freaking Xavier Johnson. Spread the ball, move the ball, get your shooter shot, shoot with confidence. Crash the offensive glass because there's going to be some long rebounds and figure it out. You're bigger, you're stronger, you're more athletic, use it. I got Indiana winning the game 74, 75, 72, something like that. And then it's party time in Bloomington. I love party time in Bloomington. I used to be big in party time in Bloomington. I did. I mean, and you would too. I mean, everybody's big at party time in Bloomington. When Indiana beats Purdue, at least it used to be, shirts came off. It was insanity. Remember my freshman year, I started. Came out of the game to a standing ovation. Like, wow, I think I've told you this before. I still remember it. Go back to my dorm floor, Curry 2 Zoo, come party with the animals. All of a sudden, there are a lot of girls from over on the other side of the girls' dorm that are walking up and down the hallway. I looked at my roommate, Rick Raway. Interesting. Purdue's a big game, eh? But let's go to this. Here's the biggest problem you got, Indiana. This is where Indiana basketball drives me batshit crazy. Put up the tweet yesterday. The tweet came in around 9:30 last night. Mike Woodson, the head coach, speaking with Don Fisher, the legendary broadcaster. I love Indiana basketball. I love the fans. I really do. I just hope they love me back, Jen. I hope they love me back. You imagine? You're a grown-ass man, 70 years old or whatever the hell Woodson is. You're the head coach at Indiana University, which is no longer, I understand I'm living in the past, but is no longer, but should be in consideration for the toughest program historically in men's basketball. I just hope they love me back. You know how they love you back, dummy? Go beat Purdue. You know how they love you back, dummy? Don't quit in an NCAA tournament game 2 years in a row. You know, this goes from incredible arrogance of Woodson, who was so arrogant when he came in. Oh, the stories of his stupidity and his arrogance, to now, I just hope they love me back. What? What? Sack the living hell up. Oh, man. All right, let's talk about some things. Let's recap last night's action, shall we? Baker Mayfield is a stud. But hey, Nick, feel free, put in my ear. Now, I know a couple David Moores. David Moore was a kid that lived in the back of my neighborhood. I played basketball. David Moore held me to 23 in the state tournament, and we lost. He's good friends with Peyton Manning, really good dude. I know about 3 or 4 David Moores. But I didn't know who the hell David Moore was last night. Who the hell knows David Moore? At first, I thought it was David Bell. Now, we all in Indiana love David Bell. David Bell played at Warren Central High School. Now he's with the Cleveland Browns. Played football at Purdue. I think he won the Blitnikoff Award. Best hands, best wide receiver in the country. I think he had a pretty good playoff game the other day for the Browns. But I'm sitting there going to myself, whoa. Who is David? What? Who is David Moore? Well, David Moore, after, what's that guy's name, Evans? Mike Evans, who was a really good basketball player in high school. Anyway, Mike Evans kept dropping balls. The tight end dropped too early, then he caught everything late. I'm looking around, and I'm looking right now. Who are they going to go to? Who could possibly catch a football for the freaking Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Now, let me ask you a question. Simple question. David Moore went to East Central. What the hell's East Central? What the hell is East Central? I'm looking him up. He's a wide receiver. He's played for a few teams. He went to East Central. The East Central Tigers, also ECU, NCAA, Division II, Great American Conference. That's right. So when I say, who the hell's David? We all feel like we know David Moore. But we don't know David Moore. Because David Moore came out of East Central. He's played on 4 or 5 different teams. What a great performance by David Moore. What a great performance by Baker Mayfield. I don't give a damn if Baker Mayfield is white, black, green, or purple. I don't give a damn if Baker Mayfield's gotten his jobs because Jemele Hill and others, I don't think it was Jemele Hill, I think it was that idiot Kern Phillips, said, well, he's white, so he gets getting jobs. Hey, look, you can be white, black, green, or purple. You play with the toughness Baker Mayfield plays with, guess what? Teams are pretty much going to want to hire you. I mean, it's not that hard. All Mayfield did was go 22 of 36 for 337 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Now, I know how this goes. Today, we've got Baker Mayfield. We've got Dan Marino, we got Joe Montana, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. Baker Mayfield in the world of the NFL is now the greatest ever. But damn, he was pretty good. He was pretty good. And if his whiteness got him the job, then whoever decided to judge him by the color of his skin, not the content of their character, did a pretty good job. Or if his whiteness didn't get him the job, and whoever decided to judge him by the content of his character, not the color of his skin, they did a good job too. However they evaluated him. On the other side, Hurts wasn't horrible. I mean, I felt like Hurts was getting killed all game. I felt like they were about one step behind, they being the Eagles, all game. I felt like the Eagles, it's like this. I played on one of these teams. You show up to play, and you're all there, but there's a difference between showing up to play and showing up to compete. And in football, competing means you're kind of sort of maybe putting your life on the line. And I don't know what happened here between Sirianni and Hurts and the team. I don't know. But whatever happened has got to get out of here. If it's Sirianni, you got to get out of here. If it's Jason Kelce and all his popularity, he's already announced his retirement, he's got to get out of here. But you cannot have, they had no chance of winning that football game. Zero, zip, nada. None. No shot. I think I put a tweet out about 3 minutes in. Man, the Eagles have no interest. They don't give a rat's ass about playing this game. 240 yards passing total. I guess there's some sacks. I don't know what you're doing there. 42 yards rushing, and that wasn't even it. Philadelphia Eagles had zero interest in tackling anybody. I always start watching, like I know where the ball handler is, so I start watching guys. And so many guys pulled up so as not to be later in the video screen when a guy got past. I'm not explaining this well, but so many guys, put it this way, didn't hustle, didn't give an all-out effort. It was ridiculous. And I don't know whether players after their last game watch a videotape. I don't know if they do. I don't know if they don't. I don't know. But at some point, somebody in that organization, whether it's Sirianni, the GM, or both, assistant coaches, players, or both, or all, is going to have to take responsibility for that effort. Because that effort was putrid. And when I say putrid, I mean absolute putrid. I'll tell you the other side of it. Now, I know Buffalo Bills people think, well, we had this all the way. No, you didn't. No. Because the Buffalo Bills were belly whomping. I mean, they were belly whomping. They were crushing the Steelers. And then right before half, we had a blocked field goal. And that blocked field goal went from here down to the 30 down there. Next thing you know, touchdown. Next thing you know, defensive stop. 2 of them in a row. One to end the half and one to start the half. And next thing you know, my brother had left. He had to go somewhere. He calls me up. He goes, hey, this is pretty easy for the Bills. I go, you didn't watch the last 2 minutes? He goes, no. I go, ooh. So then he came over. He was nice enough to bring me some dinner last night, he and his beautiful wife, Roberta. And I'm sitting there going, and we're watching, we're going, whoa, wait a second. This ain't great. No, but you got to give the Bills credit. You got to give the Bills immense credit. So now, who's the best quarterback out there? Is it Josh Allen? Is it Patrick Mahomes until somebody beats him? Is it Baker Mayfield, or is Baker Mayfield like Joe Flacco? Like we're going to love on Baker Mayfield, and then eventually, whether it's this week, next, whatever, he's going to show us that water absolutely finds its level. I don't have the answer for that, but I'm fascinated. Last thing. Let me ask you a question. Any diva wide receivers left? Like, I'm looking at Buffalo. It did not look like Stephon Diggs is a pain in the ass. Now, Stephon Diggs is one bad play from pain in the ass dumb. Mike Evans has never been a pain in the ass. You know what we saw yesterday? We saw George Pickens drop balls and then go into the wide receiver pain in the ass mode as, guess who? Pickens' team, the Steelers, exited. Tell you what, Nico Collins, breakout star. I don't see any pain in the ass wide receiver. I was watching the interview with Patrick Mahomes and that Rice kid after their win over Miami. I saw a great kid. Packers wide receivers are all the same. They're just really good. And the Lions wide receivers don't say nothing. Isn't it amazing? All the little divas are gone. Huh. What do I tell you? It's hard to win. The Brad Stevens, how did you guys get to 2 championship games? Everybody in Hinkle Fieldhouse and in the building, in around the building, pushing in the same direction. Everyone. Not some, everyone. If you don't have it, you got a problem. Maybe you can get away with that 10, 15 years ago, but everybody's pretty good right now. And I'm just telling you. Diva wide receivers. You don't need them. You don't want them because you ain't going to win with them. And let's be honest, the only thing anybody is here to do in the NFL is win. That's it. In Indianapolis, we want our cap space. In Indianapolis, we want draft evaluations. We want a good draft evaluation. You know who doesn't care about their cap space? From a football perspective, sure they do from a front office perspective, but from a fan perspective, winning teams. Winning teams don't give a rat's ass about cap space. See, in Indianapolis, people walk out of the game after the Colts have lost and not made the playoffs again and go, oh man, this is awesome, we got cap space. I literally heard somebody say that on the way out after a loss a couple years ago, and I'm like, you guys are idiots. Oh, yeah, but Ballard's done a great job getting us cap space. And then who do you sign? Nobody. Same.